Hey, hi, hello. So I want to give a couple of tips for collecting Disney pins on a budget. This is going to be a rambly video. I already feel it. So like apologies if you just want like a bulleted list. Sorry, I just like have a rambly, I'm in a rambly mood. I want to talk about collecting Disney pins on a budget. I feel like that's my specialty. Just for some context, I don't live near the parks. I'm about 900 miles from the closest Disney park. So like I can't give you any advice on like how to get discounts in the park or around the parks. I know that pins go to like the character warehouse sometimes in Orlando. There might be something equivalent in Anaheim, but like I don't know any of that stuff. I live in the middle of nowhere, not near a Disney park. So just knowing that I focus on collecting, not on trading. If you're in again, Orlando, Anaheim, have fun trading. I'm sure you can get like better deals when you trade, but I'm here to talk to the people that just suck it up and buy pins, usually secondhand because we don't really have any other options nearby. I've been pin collecting for about 8 years. The first 2 or 3 of those years I was in undergrad, so like barely making anything. I did the phone-a-thon and I would offer to pet sit and babysit professor kids for money. So like I wasn't bringing in the dough in college. And then now I just have like a standard 9 to 5 desk job, not making a whole lot of money, like kind of low on the totem pole. So like I'm just not bringing in a lot of money. So these are just some tips I've used to collect on a budget. I feel like I've been rambling. So up first, we just have to acknowledge that Disney pins are expensive. This is an expensive hobby. I wish I could choose something cheaper, but for whatever reason, these little pieces of metal with Disney characters on it just really have my heart. So we just have to acknowledge pins are expensive, and hopefully I can share some tips and resources about having the hobby be not as expensive, but I don't know how that's going to go. I feel like pin prices are going to continue to rise. I feel like when I first went to the parks, because I started collecting 8 years ago, I've been going to the parks for probably 12, 13 years at this point because I went a lot as like a kid. I feel like pins weren't that expensive. I could get like a rack pin for like under $10. It's not that anymore. I feel like the mystery bag of like 5 pins are $45 now, and it's like at some point in my lifetime, will these little bags of pins reach 50, 60, 70, $80 for 5 pins? Very scary. I don't know. So pins are just expensive when you get them direct from Disney, and certain pins are going to be way more expensive if you get them from resellers, specifically talking about like WDI pins and all of that stuff. So just pins are expensive. Hate it, but they are. And then up next tip, sometimes you just have to like be aware of pin releases because pins might be at the cheapest when they release. I see this a lot with certain like pins that like in the community we deem as like grails, or even with like WDI pins. You kind of got to get them out there first, and it's difficult, especially for like a WDI pin, because I have no cast connections. So I kind of have to suck it up with resellers and kind of just pick who the best is. Another example of this is like the D23 dresses. I'm going to be referencing D23 2024 a lot. Sorry, that was just like a crazy pin time that I was enwrapped in all things pins for D23. The dresses, these princess dresses right here. I have the Tiana one. I'm going to use this as an example, and I'll just like pull different pins from examples so you're not just looking at me the whole time. But with Tiana, I got her for $150, which is going to go kind of against and for another point I'm going to talk about later, but like that's very expensive for a pin. It's a very beautiful pin. Jumbo size pin, Elia 400, which like, yeah, but it's like, it's WDI, she's beautiful, it's the dress. But like when these previews came out, all of us as collectors were kind of like, yeah, no, these dresses are going to end up being grail pins, and the prices are scary. Ariel's $900 to $1,000. Tiana's in like the $600 to $700. She was like in the 900s at one point, but she went down a little bit. Pin prices will come down a little bit, but I just knew that very first day. I don't know if it was the Friday. I'm pretty sure it was like the Friday or Saturday it released. One of the first people went on eBay, put this for $150. I grabbed it, and then as things go, resellers are going to look back at the sold listings and try to sell for a little bit above. And then some people are going to try to sell for a little bit below later on. But in the case of like WDI, someone listed it at 150. I got it. So the next person listed at 175, then 200, then 300. And now some of them are in the thousands. And that's how it is. So sometimes you just have to get a pin right when it releases to get it at the cheapest cost, even though $150 isn't cheap for a pin. But like, this is just like a bonus tip. One grail, unless you're trying to like be a completist, which I wouldn't recommend for like any princesses. Now that I have like this one, I don't care about the profile, I don't care about the reflection. I have this one. I'm not going to spend that much on another Princess and the Frog pin in the future because I have a grail. A lot of characters, like princesses, will have like multiple grails. Choose one, get it at a good price, get an early. There you go. So that's my tip. Also for pins that are cheapest when they first come out, January releases. So if you're gonna collect like the Walt Disney World or Disneyland monthly releases, try to get the January one because like as the months go on, those January, February, March are gonna become more expensive later on because people later in the year are gonna be like, oh yeah, I want to collect this as well. So if you're interested in any of those, try to get like a good park pickup person who just charges the cost of like the pin plus shipping and tax, and they don't add like too much additional in there. That's gonna help you a whole lot. So yeah, January releases at the end of every year, you're gonna see them just being a lot more than the rest of the collection because throughout the year people decide, oh, they want to collect everything, and so those January ones are gonna go up. Okay, the next tip is to be patient. I know I just talked about how some pins are going to be like super expensive when they, no, some pins are going to be like super cheap when they come out, and then they're going to become more expensive later on. Pin prices are going to fluctuate for the most part. So if you can be patient, just wait and get some of your pins then. Bringing it back to D23, I feel like a lot of pins were going for like $70 to $90 for like standard, like the paint jars and stuff. I'm not talking about like any frame sets, dresses, or like glitters. A lot of them were in like that $80 mark back in August. Now that I'm filming, you can get them $50, $60. So like as an example, I just pulled this one out. The little Scrooge magazine is now going for like $20 less than what I got it for. So sometimes you just have to wait. And there was just like this hype around D23. There's gonna be hype around certain releases. Chill out, and a lot of the pins from that release are gonna go down in price. So you can just wait for that. This is especially important for those of us that collect attractions. Hi, I'm an attractions collector, and I really like to focus my attraction pins on rides, attraction shows, all that stuff that are no longer in the parks. So those are going to be most expensive when it's announced that the ride has closed. So recently, what are some recent things? So like Muppet Vision 3D, Rock and Roller Coaster, like featuring Aerosmith specifically, Dinosaur, like the Liberty boat thing. Those are some recent like closer announcements, and so those pins are like a lot of money. Like the Muppet Vision Parade was going for like $30 and now it's like $200. Like they're gonna go up, but they're going to come back down eventually. Just wait out if you can wait like a couple years, like 3, 4, 5+ years, they're gonna come down. I have a Superstar limo pin. I'm just looking because I have my like attractions on the wall over there. I got a Superstar limo pin for like $14. A lot of my great movie ride collection I got for good deals because like that's a great example. When it was announced that it closed, everything went up, but now they're slowly trickling back down. Another good example, I just got like a Splash Mountain pin for like $30, and a couple years ago that would have been like $200. So sometimes you just be patient with your pins. I feel like I have to speed it up because I feel like I said I was in a rambly mood, so I guess I'm gonna just go at the pace I want to go at. 5 super basic, super easy. Just like wait for different like sales and collection purges. If you're buying from Shop Disney like once a month, they're gonna have like free shipping, or like you have to spend $20 to get free shipping when the base is usually spend $75 to get free shipping. Things like pins don't always sell out super fast on Shop Disney unless it's like a mystery bag. So I usually just wait until there's either like a free shipping no matter the purchase, if I want to just like get one pin or like wait a couple months and get some pins that I've been seeing on there that I like kind of want, that are now like a more affordable price for me. So just wait, and then also like wait until people purge their collections. I'm not great at this, but people are gonna like come in and out of the hobby, or maybe they just want to get rid of like a certain collection, and so they'll post like, hey, trying to get rid of these, trying to move these. Those are the best time to get pins. Yeah. Also, if you can wait until like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, that like consumption week around like US Thanksgiving, I got a lot of good deals during that time. So just wait for like typical sales. When I talk about getting pins, also I should probably note I'm talking about like Disney store, yes, but mainly like eBay and whatnot, because those are the two places I buy pins a lot from. I don't buy on like Instagram, and then I don't have Facebook, so I don't know what the Facebook groups are doing. I don't know if you can buy stuff on TikTok. I'm mainly talking about eBay and whatnot, so like just for context, there we go. But like wait for sales, wait for sale season. Disney store slash shop Disney's always gonna have a little something a month, you know, to get you to save on shipping. So those are good. I think another big tip for collecting on a budget is to know what you want to collect and have like specific collections in mind. I know when I first started, it was just whatever I want, and then that's gonna get very expensive because I like a lot of things about Disney. So like really narrow down what you want to collect. So like my big thing is Clarabelle Cow, obviously Clarabelle pins. So if there's a Clarabelle Cow pin, I want it. I want to be a completist in it. It's, I don't know how that's I feel like that's not gonna happen, but like I know that if there's a Clarabelle Cow pin, I can bring it into my collection. And I also do attractions, and I do Princess and the Frog. Those are like my big ones. So most of the pins that I'm bringing in fall into one of those collections, and that just helps. I really like Marvel, and I like a lot of the different princesses, and I like Figment, but I can't collect everything I like. So like even like within attractions, I like niche down a little to try to find deals on like retired and defunct rides and attractions. Just don't collect everything. There are moments where I just get a pin because I like it. I feel like we all just have like that little board of pins that we like just because we like them, but don't make that like your whole thing. Try to like find your characters, your attractions, your something that you really like. That will really help you as you collect pins. Just as like a general note off of that, some characters are going to be more expensive than others. So like I said, I collect Miss Clarabelle Cow. She's not the most expensive. My thing with her is like there's just a lot of international pins that are from like 2008 that just don't ever come onto like the markets that I see. So like that's where I'm tied up with her. But in general, she's not an expensive character. I collect Tiana in Princess and the Frog. That's a little something. A lot of those pins, especially the more like graily type pins, are going to cost a lot of money, but Tiana's always going to cost less money than like the Ariel equivalent. The Ariel dress was like $1,000. The last time I checked in on the Ariel profile, it was like $5,000, which just, it's for someone. It's for someone. I wish whoever wants an Ariel profile in your collection, I hope you get her at a reasonable price, but just like Ariel profile was like 5,000. The last time I checked, Tiana was like under 1,000. She was like 900, something like that. So some characters are going to be more expensive. Stitch is going to be a lot. Ariel's going to be a lot. If they announce a ride or attraction closer, that's going to like skyrocket temporarily. And just as you collect, you'll kind of learn which characters are popular and how they're going to be more expensive. And then there's also some resources, some places you can get pins that are going to be more expensive. WDI pins are going to be expensive. I feel like just in general, those are going to be expensive. Your profiles are always going to be expensive. I feel like they're not even making profiles anymore, but they seem to be up there. Gomes pins, I feel like I haven't, like those are just like certain like high value traders who only do like a lot of stuff. They have a lot of those. So there's going to be like certain collections and stuff that just cost a lot of money, and just as you collect pins, you'll learn. Another tip, which like seems very obvious and it's like weird that I didn't mention it yet, is like just know how much you are willing to spend on a pin. whether you have like a monthly pin budget or you like are like, I can only spend like $50 on pins this month, that's one thing, versus if like per pin I can spend like maybe $40 on a pin, but I can get as many pins that are up to $40 I want a month. And then also for like people like me that don't live there, I have a pin budget for when I actually like go to parks, which isn't super often, but I will be like, this is how much I have on like pins and souvenirs. This is a budget, don't go over it. So go ahead, look around and figure out what you really want. Super basic, but it worked. The next one is to consider damaged pins. You're not going to come across damaged pins a whole lot because a lot of sellers just don't want to sell you a damaged pin, a flawed product. But on occasion, you will get a good pin that's like damaged in some way. You have to be careful because especially with like piece of history pins, a lot of like people who sell like fake or like non-authentic pins will be like, oh, this piece of history pin is damaged, but it's still great. And it's damaged because they don't actually have like the piece of whatever inside the pin, so there's just nothing there, and it's just like, oh wow, magically the actual valuable part about the pin was damaged. So you have to be careful because like some damaged pins are scammers, especially with piece of history pins. Sometimes it's not. I'm gonna show you a frame set that I got that cost like a lot of money, and I kept seeing it and I kept seeing it and I kept seeing it, and there's a Clarabelle pin, so of course I wanted it. And then one day a listing came in that was like half the price of all the other ones, and I'm like, what's going on here? And the seller like put like in the title and the description like it's damaged. And before I like got the pin, I was like talking with the seller and they're like, yeah, it's damaged, like I just don't feel good about like selling it at full price, but I felt comfortable buying it at full price. And some of you've seen this, if you see my little haul videos, is this one right here. It is the Boys versus Girls frame set, and we have Clarabelle Cow right there. And the damage they were talking about is damage to the plastic. So like, yeah, I was gonna swoop in on that. The pin, absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with any of the pins, but like some of the plastic and stuff is a little frayed, it's a little damaged. And so to like some collectors and some collector spaces, this is sucks. But for like me, I'm okay with like the plastic being damaged. And then where there's some damage on the plastic, the frame underneath is bad, but like most importantly, Clarabelle's beautiful and fine. And this is torn. This corner right here is like the most damage, and I got a Clarabelle Cow pin frame set for like $50 when the rest of these are going for like 150 up. So like, consider damaged pins. Don't always get damaged pins, but sometimes every, like I've seen like a couple, not a lot, but some damaged pins are just, it's worth to get. Next up is just like be careful with sellers, like I was talking about earlier with like piece of history pins. Those aren't damaged, those are just fake. They don't, like if you're trying to get a piece of history pin, you're getting it because it has like a little piece of Disney history in this little bubble. And so if like the bubble's broken, it's not worth it to get that pins. It's not worth it to get the pin. There's just like, you'll know as you continue to buy, there's just certain like sellers that just don't have authentic pins. And then even with authentic pins, just some people really want profit. That's their main thing about Disney pins. I learned this a lot when I went to the park, and then I was like just browsing like the next month or so looking at pins. There'll be a pin that's like $14.99 in the parks, and resellers are trying to sell it for like $30, which I get. For like resell, you want to buy it when it's low and sell it when it's high. I've accepted that with resellers. Some people out here are banking on the fact that like some of us just don't know the price of Disney pins. A lot of like Disney pins like in the parks are like color coded. They'll be like red, silver, pink, something, I don't know the system. So yeah, me who doesn't go to the parks except every like 5 years, I don't really know what that means. But just kind of know the price of pins, because some pins just cost a lot of money. Some people are really trying to scam you with the price of pins. They just are. Some people are just more expensive as well. Some people just have higher cost pins. So just know what you're willing to buy. Know how much you're willing to spend for a pin. Yeah. Up next, I want to just give some tips on shopping on eBay and whatnot. because those are the main platforms where like I get pins from. So these might help you. eBay, you just have to know what you're looking for. Yeah, a lot of like inauthentics on eBay, but you can get some like really good deals. Like some of my best deals came from eBay. So if you're bidding on something, wait until the last final seconds to like actually place your bid. This is something that like I've started doing, and I feel like I get like a lot of good deals that way. When there's like a minute left in an auction, and like I will like get up early in the morning or like stay up late or like strategically place my like break at work to like see like the last couple minutes of an auction, and the last minute is when I put like my bid and my max bid, and the last like 20 or like 15 seconds, that's really when you want to like, how much are you like willing to spend on a pin. That's kind of what I do, and I feel like I get a lot of good deals that way. You can't do that with everything, because a lot of people like go on eBay and they'll be like, oh, I really want X pin, it ends in a week, I'm gonna just put in my back bid now, and that kind of like drives up the price. So you can't do that with like every pin in every auction, but there's certain auctions where like if you wait and you can like be there in the last couple seconds, you'll get it for a couple of dollars. So that's good. When you're searching for a pin, and this just like depends on the character, if you can use like misspellings or like common words for the pins, it'll be easier. So like as an example, I wouldn't type in like, I've never done this for this specific pin, but like as an example, you could type in like 2024 D23 Rapunzel dress pin. If you like type in the actual name of the pin or like the pin you're getting from PinPix, you're gonna find like pin sellers, pin people, and they're gonna have the prices up a lot higher than just someone who doesn't really know anything about Disney pins. That's like another like vague tip I have, is like sometimes you just have to buy from people who don't really know anything about Disney pins, and they're just like pricing to sell or to get rid of, and they just don't really know the value of like what they have. If you use like general terms or like misspell things, that usually gets you cheaper pin prices for the most part. It can be a little difficult with Disney, because if you're looking for like Elsa pins, you're gonna get a lot of like Disney Elsa pins. Like for specific characters and specific collections, you can get away with like misspelling it, common descriptions. And that's usually when you'll find listings from people who like aren't as intense with Disney pins, and they're usually selling it for a lot less. So if you go to like a general reseller as opposed to someone who like knows a lot about like Disney pins, you'll also get pretty good deals there. I got one of my jumbo spinners for like $50, and the other ones were going for $200, because I went to just a general reseller who just happened to have this random spinner pin, and they didn't really do a lot of work in seeing like, oh, this pin is actually going for $200. So it sounds a little mean, but like sometimes you have to take advantage of people who don't really know anything about the community. That helps you a little bit. Sometimes you have to set alert for grail pins on eBay. That helps me. So like in general, I get email alerts every day for like Clarabelle cow pins, just so I can kind of see what's new, and then if there's anything new or that I don't have, I'm one of the first people to get it, because it just so happens that like I wake up like 10 minutes after those like emails are sent out every morning, so I'm usually one of the first people to get the Clarabelle cow pins. But also, I have another example. There was like a one specific pin, this frame set that is like what I consider a Clarabelle cow grail, that I've been looking for years, and you just don't see it listed. The one that I have in my hands that I'm looking at right now is the first one I've seen listed in the entire 8 years that I've been collecting. And so I had a specific eBay alert for this specific pin, and in this instance I use like the exact name, like the PinPix name. I know I was talking about like not using the exact name. For this one I did use the exact name, just so if it happened to show up, I could get it. And like 2 years after I set up that alert, I did. And this is like my like grail Clarabelle cow pin. I think if you're a Clarabelle collector, this is gonna be the grail for you. It is the LE25 Best in Show. I show this pin like a lot better and a lot clearer in my Clarabelle cow collection, so you can like watch that if you want like a better like idea of everything. But it's like an LE of 25, which is like crazy. And it's like a Clarabelle that's 25. And I have her. And that's all part of just being patient and all of that. I also got this pin for less than what it's listed for, so that's good. So that was just kind of a mix of a lot of things. Being patient, using the alerts, and just going and getting it. Sometimes when your grail is available, like in your price range, you just have to like run and get it. Yeah, and then also strategically use offers. Sometimes eBay will send out little coupons, or like sellers will give out like little discounts. Take 10% off this pin. Use that strategically. So I'm going to go back to my dress for an example. I lied to you all a little bit earlier when I said that I paid $150 for it. This was listed at $150, and I'm sure the seller got $150 out of it, but eBay kept sending me like offers to get like $10 off an item if I buy through the eBay app. So when it came time to get this grail pin and it popped up, I used a little referral link in an email to download the eBay app, sign in, and so I got like 10% off of this grail pin. So yeah, I spent under $150 for a princess dress, which is like a little crazy now. But you have to be like very strategic when you use that, because it's like a one-time thing, and they send like 5% off. I don't get a lot of like good deals through the app anymore, but if you can be strategic with the deals and like the offers, you can get good deals. Cool. To finish it up, I'm going to talk about Whatnot. Whatnot, if you're unfamiliar, is like a live auction platform where people will they can sell anything. You can sell almost anything on Whatnot. I'm usually in like the Disney category, and they'll have pins, and you can either auction on a pin that people either like show up that get this one pin, and you can swipe for it, and it's very addicting. And there's a lot of things I don't like about Whatnot, but I just feel like I can get a lot of good deals there, and I feel like the prices are generally lower than eBay. And because it's like live, you can kind of get to know the sellers and get some discounts that way. So just general overview for Whatnot. A lot of people like different referral codes, so you can get like $5 or $10 off your first purchase. You can search around for those different codes. On Whatnot, I only really buy from shows that have like 20 or less people if I'm like bidding in an auction. If I'm just doing like a little buy it now, because like Whatnot has little like buy it nows where it's just like a little website, a little shop where you can buy pins and make offers. If I'm gonna be auctioning, if I'm gonna be like in an auction, I make sure there's not a lot of people in the room. That's just so you have like less people that you're bidding against, and there's less of a chance that someone wants the pin that you want. With that, look for like dollar starts, bundle deals, or like pick twos, because it can really help you save money. So like bundle deals with people will be like, we can just like, if you want to get these 3 pins, I'll give you a little discount. They all cost $10 each, but if you get all 3 of them, I'll run it for like 25 or something for you. That's just, it's really nice to sell. It's just like help people out that way, so I do that. Dollars starts are when people will like show a pin and it starts at $1 and you can like bid up in dollar increments. I got a whole lot of munchling pins for $1 or $2 because I was in a dollar start show. Another kind of tip is like, if you can, early morning or super late at night, best shows. I watch a lot of people on the West Coast because there's just a lot of people who are asleep. West Coast nighttime shows, those are some of the best deals you're gonna get, because I remember there was a time where it was like me and like 3 people just bidding on munchlings, and we just kind of all like naturally, like if someone bidded up to like $3, that means they really want the pin. They get an authentic Disney pin for $3. Everyone else kind of stepped back. And so that's how I got a lot of pins, by doing like dollar starts when there's not a lot of people and it's during off-peak hours. That's kind of how Whatnot works best for me. A lot of bigger people do dollar starts, but again, a lot of people in the shows, there's a likelihood that the price is going to just go up. So yeah. Also, sometimes people will do like a pick 2. So it's like a $10 start, you bid $10, you get 2 pins. So that's really good. And just doing those type of shows can help you like with traders if you're interested in building traders, or like me, I really wanted a bunch of munchling pins and I wasn't successful with like unboxings. So I'm like, oh, let me just get them for $2, $3 versus going to like eBay where the same pin would be like $10 plus shipping. Or if I were in a show with like more than like 10 people, a lot of people might be bidding on that. And then the price is like $15 for a munchling, and I got it for like $2 or $3, if that makes sense. I just have to like be active and talk to people even if you aren't buying things. That way the sellers kind of know who you are and learn what you like, and then they'll give you deals from there, which isn't always like fair, but like it's a thing. You're gonna want to like help out the people that help you. So there's like one person I know who I just kind of like built a relationship with. I built a relationship with them a little bit. I talked to them. I'm like in their shows, just saying things and chatting. And so I like gave them some of my ISOs. Like, here's 2 pins I'm like really looking for. And they're like out there looking for those pins. Since I collect Clarabelle, it's like a little more difficult for them to find my ISOs. But like, I know if you collect Haunted Mansion or Belle or like Aristocats, they've been able to find other people who are like active in the shows and like find their grails is they trade and buy collections, and then they can like offer it to you before it like goes out for show to everyone. So just something like that. Even when there's like 5 people in a show, it can get a little awkward when we're all just kind of like there and the person's like running boards and showing pins and no one says anything. And so I found a couple times if I was just like, hey, how are you? How's the show going? Or someone's like, what do you all collect? I take requests. And I'm like, oh, I collect Princess and the Frog and attractions and Clarabelle Cow. They're like, oh, let me pull some pins for you. And they're like, well, since you're talking and you're here and like you're buying things and you're like engaging with me, I can give you a couple dollars off the listed price and start the auction super low for you. I've also had people like put like pins for me like in the buy it now like little shop section, just because I talked to them. And so it's like easier to do it from the buy it now and just click buy now versus having to like do the auction and risk having someone else like bid up the price. So just, you know, being personable gets you far in life. And then just the final thing for Whatnot is like use tier coupons wisely. There's like a loyalty program with like these little tiers and whatnot, and it's like bronze, gold, platinum, all the different things. And so if you like watch a certain number of shows, buy a quantity of products and also like a numerical value for like products, you can like go up in tiers and whatnot, like loyalty things, and you'll get like $5, $10, $15 off. And then as you get to like higher tiers, sometimes you get like percentages off, so you can get like 20% off your next purchase over like $20, but like the 20% off can't exceed like $400 something. I don't know the exact things, but like just use those coupons wisely. There's seasons to like the loyalty program, so it's every like 3 months ish, and if you just use those coupons strategically, you can get some pretty good deals. This was a longer video. Like, I would say sorry about it being long, but I also did warn you guys it was going to be long. But these are just some of the pieces of advice I follow to get Disney pins on a budget. In general, I try to get pins below retail, and you gotta be patient and wait for pins, and you'll get what you want. And I didn't think I was going to get an Ellie 25 pin, but I was just patient. I waited. I used some of the tips, and now everything's good. So there we go. Let me know what tips you all have. Like I said, I only really buy from like eBay, Whatnot, or like Disney stores. So if you have any tips for like Instagram, Facebook, feel free to like leave those down below for people that use those platforms. But like anyways, we have to cut this video down. I'm at like 40 minutes of filming, so there we go. Thank you for watching. Hopefully some of these tips will be useful. Hopefully some of the rambles made sense. And yeah, there we go. How I kind of budget for Disney pins. I don't know how to end a video.